Your station, 101 FM, with Saturday Sports Scene.
Good morning and welcome to Sports Scene again here for another week on 101 FM, your station here in Logan. Kevin Braysher, your host, here with you. As always, another big show planned for you today, a very big interview coming up later in the second hour of the show. We'll tell you all about that in just a little bit. But joining me on the show, as always, the founding father of Sports Scene, Mr. Darren Madigan. Darren, welcome to the show.
Good morning, everybody. Next few weeks we've got the Lions, Wallabies test starting this evening. We've got the first of 10 Ashes tests coming up in a few weeks, and I'll see you guys at Christmas.
Pretty much when we come out of hibernation, sporting hibernation over the next couple of months, everything is happening in the world of sport, including the start of Wimbledon that kicks off this coming week. Ethan James from the QRL, welcome to the show. You're all over the tennis scene as well, not just rugby league.
No, that's it. Two sports for me, Kev. Good morning, everyone. This morning, a nice chilly morning down here at Logan.
That's it. It's a foggy one on the way up, that's for sure.
It is. It was a good drive, but the Wimbledon draw, of course, happened yesterday, and the tournament kicks off on Monday. So we'll have a look through the draw, see who the Aussies are playing. Some tough first round matchups for Hewitt and also Bernard Tomic, but we'll have a look at that a bit later.
We certainly will. A big show planned for you today. As I alluded to just before in the intro to the show, a big interview coming up in the second hour of the show at 20 to 10, 9:40. We've got 33 Origins, 45 Test matches, 309 first grade games, and now one Sports Scene appearance for Mr. Petro Sivanasiva.
He's hit the big time.
He's hit the big time now. He'll be on the show to talk to us about the Intrust Super Cup's Turn to Me round. We'll tell you all about that in the second hour of the show. He'll also be on the line to talk to us about the season he's had at Redcliffe so far, of course, as the captain of the Redcliffe Dolphins in the Intrust Super Cup, and we'll ask him a little bit about Origin and other things as well. So Petro Sivanasiva coming up in the second hour of the show. It's great to have him on. Absolute legend of the game, Ethan.
Yeah, that's it. I was at a sportsman's lunch, an Origin lunch with East yesterday, and Petro was nice enough to give his time there as a guest speaker. Friendliest bloke going around. He gave some really interesting insights into his time in the Origin arena and just his career in general. He's got a wealth of rugby league knowledge and experience, and it'd be great to have a chat to a bit later this morning.
Yeah, we can't wait. That'll be 20 minutes to 10. We'll get Petro on the phone, so make sure you're listening. And Darren Madigan, the big interviews keep rolling on Sports Scene. Next week we've got another big one.
Yeah, fresh from Le Mans, we got Jason Bright coming on the program. It's been a few years since we've had Jason on, back in the days when he was driving alongside Mark Winterbottom at FPR, but the hit's the big time this weekend over there in one of the top 2 or 3 races on the planet, the Le Mans 24-hour.
That's it. Make sure you're listening to that for next week. We'll get through all the results and news from overnight now. In the NRL round 15, the Roosters 20 defeat the Bulldogs 18 at ANZ Stadium. The Roosters were in front for most of that game. The Bulldogs, a couple of late tries to make it close, but Sonny Bill Williams, a man of the match performance at halfback. Who'd have thought he can do it all, Sonny Bill Williams. The Roosters, a good win there last night with a few of their stars missing. In the AFL round 13, Hawthorn, they continue to roll on. 19-9, 123 defeat West Coast, 16-7, 103 at Etihad Stadium. Roughhead and Gunston, 5 goals each for the Hawks. Darren, how good are Hawthorn at the moment? They look near unstoppable.
They are fantastic, and West Coast had 4 great players coming in as well, including Sorry, couldn't resist. But Roughhead and Gunston with 5 apiece just goes to prove Hawthorn don't need Franklin and Rioli to be firing all the time to be playing well. They're a great side. And it was 200 games too, I believe, for Alistair Clarkson too as coach.
That's it, and we'll talk all the Aussie rules football after the first break here in the first hour of Sports Scene. Yesterday, a very big event over in the USA. The NBA Finals Game 7 was completed, and the Miami Heat made it back-to-back championships, 95-88. They beat the Spurs in Game 7. LeBron James hit 37 points. Dwayne Wade hit 23. LeBron picked up his second straight Finals MVP. What a performance it was from the Heat to come back. They were down 3-2 in the series at one point and came back, won the last 2 games to take out the best-of-7 series 4-3. So well done there to the Miami Heat. And the rugby union during the week, the Brumbies picking up a big win over the Lions, the first provincial side to beat the British and Irish Lions in 16 years. They got up 14-12 on Tuesday night against the Lions. And we'll talk all the rugby in the first hour as well at about 8:45. So make sure you're listening to that, all leading up to the first test, of course, tonight at Suncorp Stadium. And in football during the week, possibly the biggest result for Australian sides all week. The Socceroos 1-0 over Iraq. An 83rd minute header from Josh Kennedy sends Australia to their third consecutive World Cup finals. Darren Madigan, how good is it to be an Australian football fan at the moment?
It is sensational, isn't it? And how many of us were sitting there thinking, oh no, not Iraq again. It gets to the 80th minute and we're thinking 10 minutes to go. Would somebody please score? Because it was just getting a bit like that, especially some horrible memories of the past. But as the old saying goes, you've only got to be one ahead in any sport to win at the end. And that's how it worked out for us. And we're one of the first 5 or 6 teams to qualify for Brazil 2014, which is great.
Absolutely. And the Socceroos, no drama. They've done it a few times. They come with those dramatic finishes, and that was certainly one of them during the week. Darren, what else is happening in the world of sport?
Bubba! Got to say it, Bubba Watson is great. He's leading at the moment in the tournament, TPC tournament at Cromwell in Connecticut. First round 63, followed it up with a 67. He's leading by 2 at the moment, 10 under par. Nick O'Hearn, the best placed Australian, tied for 4th. Stuart Appleby and Mark Leishman, they're tied for 24th as well. Should mention too, while we're on the golf, congratulations last week to Jason Day too, finishing 2nd in the US Open. He's having a hell of a year on tour, especially after his performance at the Masters. As far as the girls are concerned, Pinnacle Country Club, Rogers in Arkansas. The Mika Miyazato at the moment 6 under par, leading by 1 after a first round 65. Sarah Kemp, best placed Australian, tied for 3rd at the moment, and then it's a fair way down to 59th before we get to the Australian Sarah Jane Smith. As far as tennis is concerned, last minute practice, shall we say, before we get into Wimbledon. The grass court season is only about 3 weeks long, and these guys have got to get as many games as they can in before they get to the grass at Wimbledon. We've got Eastbourne semi-finalists there. Gilles Simon has defeated Seppi, and Lopez has defeated Dogic. So Simon and Lopez will go through to the final at Eastbourne in Great Britain. And the Top Shelf Open in the Netherlands, Nicolas Mahut has beaten Xavier Malisse, and Stan Wawrinka, who will play Leighton Hewitt in the first round at Wimbledon, has defeated Garcia Lopez. So he goes straight into a final against Mahut, and it'll be interesting to see how he comes out of that against Leighton in the first round at Wimbledon. As far as the girls are concerned, semi-finals also in Netherlands. Simona Halep has defeated Carla Suarez Navarro to go through to the final, and she'll play Kirsten Flipkins there. And some of the girls are obviously taking a bit of a break at the moment, so not a lot of big names, except for at Eastbourne. We have Carolyn Wozniacki has gone down in the semi-final, and she was looking good earlier in the week. I watched a bit of some of the games she was playing, and she was looking quite good, but she's gone down to Jamie Hampton, USA unseeded player. So Jamie Hampton will play in the final against Vesnina, who defeated Janina Wickmeyer. So that's what's happening there in Great Britain. As far as the rest of the news is concerned, in motorsport, yesterday the big tribunal happened, and the FIA has announced that Mercedes and Pirelli have been reprimanded by the FIA International Tribunal. The tribunal decided that Mercedes should be reprimanded and be suspended from participating in the 3-day young driver test. Pirelli were not impressed about having to front this tribunal. They'll be wondering whether they'll actually be in Formula One in the next year or two. Marcus Ambrose is fastest in practice for the NASCAR Sprint Cup race this weekend in Sonoma, California. He leads Montoya by about 0.2 of a second. Also, former V8 supercar driver Owen Kelly is racing in the Nationwide Series this weekend at Road America, and he was fastest overall in a rain-delayed practice session there. Le Mans 24-hour, currently Alan McNish is on pole with alongside Lotterer on the front row. John Martin is sitting on the 5th row from Australia. Ryan Briscoe on the 12th row. Both of those guys will actually start the race. And down on the 25th row will be Jason Bright, who will speak to you next week. He will not start the race. His teammate Rui Aguas will in the Ferrari that they're driving. Surfing in Burleigh, the Oakley Pro. At the moment, they had a lay day yesterday through lack of surf. If they get underway again today, some interesting heats there. Will be Taj Burrow from Australia playing, going up against Miguel Pupo from Brazil. Joel Parkinson against Damien Hopgood. Current World Championship leader, again, Kelly Slater, will be up against Hermawan from Indonesia. And Mick Fanning will take on Yadin Nicol as well. In basketball, the girls, our Australian Opals, went up against China in the second match of their 3-match series in their tour of China. They went down by 4 points, and Francis and Snell both scored 12 in that match as well. In athletics, we've heard in the last couple of days that Veronica Campbell-Brown, the most successful female Jamaican athlete, has been suspended provisionally for accused of taking a diuretic. I'm not sure whether the B sample's gone through that, so that case is pending at the moment. And in the cricket, India and England will play in the Champions Final, and that will be tomorrow at Birmingham. That brings you up to date.
Thank you very much for that, Darren. As we say, a big show planned for today. Petro Seven coming up 9:40. He'll be talking to us about the Intrust Super Cup Turn to Me round, all things footy as well. Also coming up today on the show, Paula Stewart, coach of the Golden South Jags netball team. She'll be on the line at about 8:30 to talk us through all what's happening in the local netball scene. Lee Hanatscheck from the Australian Karting Association will also be on the line to talk to us at about 9:15 and talk us through all things motorsport. So get in contact with us here on SportzScene. We are on Facebook.com/SportzScene and YouTube.com/SportzScene. That's SportzScene, SportzScene. Also at SportzScene on Twitter. Also, you can email us if you like, news@sportzscene.com.au. We'll go to a break now. When we come back, we'll talk through all things Aussie rules. Stay with us on 101 FM.
Thomson Cooling is not only a cooling provider, you can also enjoy a cozy, warm and clean environment in your home with cost-efficient reverse cycle air conditioning. Our station sponsor, Thomson Cooling, will recommend the best Daikin reverse cycle air conditioning system for your home. Interest-free packages covering supply and installation are now available. Friendly advice, peace of mind, prompt response, quality product and service. Call today for a no-obligation free quote. Thomson Cooling, 1300 852 869.
I came to this country because my cousin told me about a restaurant I could work in. Then they said I owed them $40,000. They threatened me and my family back home. Back then, I just thought that's how things worked here in Australia.
For confidential legal advice, contact Anti-Slavery Australia.
Join the 101 FM Supporters Club today and be in this month's prize draw, plus enjoy future discounts on 101 FM ticketed events and merchandise. For just $10 per year, you can become part of the 101 FM family. Current 101 FM subscribers will automatically be transferred to the Supporters Club. Phone 38088 101 and join the 101 FM Supporters Club now.
101 FM.
This is Saturday Sports Scene on 101 FM.
Welcome back to Sports Scene here on 101 FM. It's 18 minutes past 8. Kevin Braysher, Darren Madigan, Ethan James, all here with you. Just a reminder, the 101 FM barbecue team will be out and about this weekend, fundraising by cooking up a storm at Office Works Compton Road. Please come down and say hi to the team and support your station, 101 FM. That's Office Works Compton Road. The 101 FM barbecue team will be out and about. Go check them out. Now, it's time to talk about the world of Aussie rules football, and we'll start with the NEFL. Darren, a big game during the week for our man Craig Crowley, who's not with us this morning, but they travelled all the way over to the Western Australia to play in the Foxtel Cup. Mate, how'd they go?
Yeah, look, as expected, it was a tough deal for them, and we didn't think they'd do great against them, and they went down by about 9 goals, 54 points. But look, it could have been a lot worse against a side of the quality of Claremont. I've been watching them quite a bit this season, and they really are a very, very good side. And this final scoreline, 12-8-80 to 4-2 26. But a few Southport players impressing, players such as Fraser Pope. Great to see that name up there again. It's been a while since I've been able to read about him in best player lists and stuff, so that was really, really good to see. And, there's quite they just didn't have it. I mean, you're playing against a competition that is so superior to ours at the moment that it's a pretty big deal. So, and they were up against a really good side, but to get as far as they did is fantastic. And Southport, it gives an idea for Southport where they sit now, because we've always wondered down through the years just how strong Southport would be against some of these big teams from the Sandful and the Waffle. So, a little bit of work to do there. It's possible too, I haven't had a chat to Craig about it, they might have taken some youngsters over too, because these midweek games, it was a Tuesday game, excuse me, which means, guys have to get time off work to travel and all that sort of stuff as well, because these aren't professional footballers. So, it'd be interesting to hear off Craig next week when we get a hold of him, just what sort of a side they put up against them.
Absolutely right. Look, we'll move on now to the NEAFL round 14, the Northern Division, of course. First game this afternoon, 1 p.m, mate. Redlands up against the Hills Eagles. Redlands at home. Yeah,
Redlands coming off a loss last week in another cross-conference game. Poor guys. They really haven't been doing well as far as the draw is concerned, have they? But they're coming up against a team in the Hills Eagles that sit roughly in the same spot as they do on the ladder, which is just outside the finals at the moment. So, it's really is one of those throw of the dice jobs, but we'd like to think Redlands at home might just have a bit of home ground advantage there and at Cashies Park and take the Hills Eagles out.
That's it. Labrador up against Southport this afternoon, 1:30 p.m. at Cook Murphy Oval, the local derby, mate. The local derby, and it usually plays out a hell of a lot better than often the ladder suggests. Having said that, Labrador are one off the bottom at the moment with 1 win for the season and 9 losses, and really Southport along with the Brisbane Lions is just a class of the comp at the moment, and Southport being the one team outside of that top 3, which is the Brisbane Lions, Southport and Gold Coast Suns, that don't have to worry about players going up into the AFL every week and all that sort of stuff. I think Southport will do a hell of a job on the Labrador today, actually. That's it. Morningside, mate, up against Mount Gravatt. They're at home. It's 1:30 p.m. this afternoon. Morningside at home. Yeah, these guys have built up a tradition of their own down through the years. I mean, we talk about the great tradition in the QAFL, NEAFL, and it's always, it's been that old firm of Southport and Morningside, but Morningside and Mount Gravatt have also played some grand finals as well. But at the moment, both teams are a little bit down and out. Morningside better than Mount Gravatt. Mount Gravatt sitting on the bottom of the ladder. Morningside currently in 5th spot at the moment. But probably not impressing too many people. So just going by ladder positions at the moment, and the way that Mount Gravatt are really rebuilding at the moment after a number of great years, Morningside to win comfortably. NT Thunder up against the Sydney Swans, 3:30 p.m. This afternoon over in Alice Springs. Yeah, huge, absolutely huge result this year for the Northern Territory Thunder, but huge in the wrong way. Really, this is the end of their 5-year plan. They expected to be completely dominating the competition, and they said in an ABC story a few years ago that they expected to be in the Sandful probably next year sort of thing by now, according to the plan. That isn't going to happen. Sydney Swans are top of the Eastern Conference ladder, and they'll beat the Northern Territory Thunder comfortably. Brisbane Lions up against Aspley Cooperoo tomorrow at midday. I think this will be a good game. Yeah, Brisbane Lions sitting on top, Aspley in 4th spot. Aspley are the story of Southeast Queensland football probably for the past year or so. A coach who was successful with Morningside down through the years, and they've got some good players in, and it wasn't that long ago that Aspley were playing in the lower divisions, so I think they're going to really take the Lions out. Not sure what the Lions are doing as far as their AFL team is concerned, but I'd even pick Aspley for an upset in this. Tipping the upset there. The Brisbane Lions up against Aspley tomorrow at Cooperoo midday. The byes this week, the Gold Coast Suns and Broadbeach both getting the bye. Take a look at the ladder after 13 rounds. Heading into this weekend's round 14, the Lions are on top. Then we got Southport, Gold Coast Suns, Aspley, Morningside, NT Thunder down in 6th. This is a very unfamiliar spot for them considering the last couple of years. Redlands in 7, Broadbeach, Labrador, and Mount Gravatt down the bottom. You're listening to Sports Scene here on 101 FM. Kevin Braysher, Darren Madigan, and Ethan James all here with you, taking you through the world of Aussie rules football. We move on now to the AFL round 13. It's 24 minutes past 8. Last night's result, of course, the Hawthorn Hawks 19-9-123 over the West Coast Eagles 16-7-103. Mate, there's been a lot of talk during the week and recent weeks about Buddy Franklin and the potential offer coming from GWS. Last night, he wasn't the main man kicking the goals for him. It was Roughhead and Gunston. If he was to go away from the Hawthorn side, would life just go on for Hawthorn?
Oh, look, life goes on in any football team, even when you lose the great players, but gee, it'd be a hell of a loss, wouldn't it? I mean, the thing that really irked me earlier in the season with this whole business with Buddy was the AFL piping up and making comments. Right. Saying that, we'd be prepared to, the special part of the salary cap and all that sort of thing to help facilitate this to happen. And I'm thinking, that's not your place. You shouldn't be saying things like that. I mean, it's up to the clubs to trade. So I was a bit irky on that. But look, Hawthorn have proven that they can play without Lance, and they can proven that they can play without Cyril as well. And it's great to see Roughhead scoring goals and doing well. And he's, as of last week, I think both him and Buddy were sitting on 31 goals apiece. But as per usual, Buddy had scored 22 behinds as well. He's not the most. He's never been the most accurate player going around. But yeah, I mean, if it happens, it would be sensational for the game in Western Sydney, but not real great for Hawthorn. But life would go on.
It'd be similar to the Gold Coast Suns signing Gary Ablett, to take him out of a premiership side in Geelong and come up, be a big name in the new club. It's got a lot of the same sort of ring to it in that sense. So
great
for
analogy.
The game, I think you're right, it'd be very interesting.
Yeah, great analogy. You're spot on there. I mean, it's, you're talking about a side. I mean, okay, Geelong are full of champions, but gee, Hawthorn have shown that they can beat Geelong down through the years as well. They did so in a grand final not long back very cleverly. So, yeah, it's the world won't come to an end if Buddy moves. I just think it'd be sad to see him go.
We move through the rest of the 13th round of the AFL season now. The Port Power, they're at home to the Sydney Swans at Amy Stadium. That'll be 1:40 p.m. this afternoon, mate. It's the return of Kurt Tippett.
It is, and how exciting is it to see Kurt finally playing footy again? It's look, the big guy up front. It takes a bit of the pressure off someone like Adam Goods as well. Adam can run around that forward line and have a bit of a roving commission. Having Kurt Tippett at full forward, I assume he'll line up there and they'll put him straight in the side. It doesn't make a lot of sense to put a guy like him on the bench and bring him off. But playing against Port Adelaide, who are 6-5 for the season, and they only had their first win after a losing streak of 5, and really Sydney Swans are a great side at the moment. Comfortable win to Sydney.
That's it. This next game, mate, at the MCG, 4:40 p.m. Both these teams going through a fair bit of drama in the last 7 days. St Kilda up against the Melbourne Demons. The Demons, of course, are sacking their coach Mark Neal after it's been a long time coming, really, in a lot of people's minds after some very poor performances over the last 2 years. And St Kilda having to stand down Stephen Milne during the week as well. But they also come to this game with Nick Revolt and Nick Del Santos both playing their 250th. There's a lot of little things going on in this game.
Oh, isn't there? St Kilda, Melbourne at the MCG with everything that's going on at the moment. I challenge you to count the seats rather than the people. Yeah. It's going to be a bit like that. Look, I think St Kilda will win, but they've got a lot on their plate at the moment, and there's a lot of with the whole business with Stephen Milne. Yeah, I mean, I'm not with the people who think that they've done the right thing. I think he should be allowed to play if he wants to. And hey, let the law take its course. We're innocent until proven guilty, as I say ad nauseum on this show, down through the years.
Let's see. We'll move on to happier subjects, which is more footy at the Etihad Stadium this afternoon or tonight at 7:40 p.m. The Western Bulldogs up against the Richmond Tigers, mate. The Richmond Tigers, heavy favourites,
and they should be too. I mean, it's great to be able to be biased here and actually be credible, because well, the thing is, they're actually playing like a team that deserves to be in the 8 at the moment. And we haven't been able to say that for a lot of years. In fact, not since 2001. So, fantastic stuff. Obviously, I think they're going to win fairly comfortably, although the Doggies are capable of upsets. We've seen that this year. But Richmond just have a belief now that they haven't had for probably a decade.
That's it. Tomorrow afternoon, mate, 3:20 p.m. Queensland time. The Dockers up against the Kangaroos over at Patterson Stadium.
Freo against North. I think this will be a better game than the latter positions allow. Freo sitting in 5th spot, North Melbourne in 13th. I don't believe that that's a reflection of how this match will play out. North usually play fairly well down there. Freo, I think I'm actually going to tip an upset. I think North can get up.
Yeah, sneaky upset there. Final match of the round, Sunday afternoon, 4:40 p.m. at the Gabba. Brisbane Lions host Geelong, mate. Any chance for the Lions?
No. No, in a word. Geelong are just class. And, they'll win comfortably.
That's it. The buys this week: Adelaide, Gold Coast, GWS, Carlton, Collingwood and Essendon. Quick look at the ladder. Hawthorn on top, 11 wins, just the one loss. Geelong also just the one loss this year with 10 wins. They got a chance to join them up at the top of the ladder this weekend against the Lions. Then we got Essendon, Sydney, Fremantle, Collingwood, Richmond, Carlton in the top 8. Then we got Port, West Coast, Adelaide, Gold Coast, North Melbourne, Western Bulldogs, Brisbane Lions, St Kilda, Melbourne and GWS rounding out the ladder. We'll take a break here now on SportzScene. When we come back from the break, we'll get Golden South Jags coach Paula Stewart on the line to talk us through the world of netball. So stay with us on 101 FM.
Like most businesses at this time of the year, your station 101 FM is holding an end of financial year sale. And until July 31, your business will receive this great offer. From now until July 31, for every announcement you pay for, you'll get one free. Yes, that's right. Pay for one, get one free. Call 101 FM during office hours on 3808 8101. That's 3808 8101. Or email sales@101fm.asn.au and we'll help you design a radio campaign to suit your business.
Do you have a street light that's not functioning correctly outside your property? Perhaps you've noticed a floodlight over a zebra crossing that's not operating. Well, Energex
James, all here with you, and joining us on the phone to talk us through the world of netball, coach of the Golden South Jaguars, Paula Stewart. Welcome back to SportzScene.
Thanks for having me back, guys.
Absolutely welcome anytime. Paula, Darren?
G'day, Paula. Welcome to the show once again. And how are things travelling for the Jags? Last time we spoke, you were sitting 3rd on the ladder. So what's the news since then?
Okay, then we slipped down to tied 4th. With Steel Cats, and we beat Steel Cats in Townsville a few weekends ago, and then we beat Lions last weekend. So we're actually coming in 4th now, and Steel Cats are still behind. They're still on our toes, but one more game to go. Steel Cats tonight have got Tigers, who haven't lost a game all season, and we've got second place Cougars tonight. So, but our percentage is pretty good. So even after tonight's game, we still want to go out with the win, but we should be okay to go into the semi-finals. Yeah,
I was just taking a look at the ladder at the moment. Tigers on 26 points, Cougars on 19, Lynx on 17, Jags, yourselves on 16 now. 2 points for a win. You win tonight and say the Lynx manage to lose, you can still get into 3rd spot, but your position is secure, isn't it?
It is secure, but I think you're looking at a different draw on that one because we've got 2 draws in our cup. There's one draw with the EDS team with it, and there's another draw too by itself. So
thank you, Netball Queensland.
Yeah, so we've got 2 draws, but looking at tonight and with my crystal ball, I would say that we do come in 4th, and but even if we did come in 3rd or 4th, we still play Lynx next weekend.
All right. I think I've got the correct draw up here now, actually. This is the one without the EDS scores. Tigers, Cougars, Lynx on 13 points, Jags on 12 there in 4th spot, Steel Cats on 10, and Lions, Wildcats, and obviously the buy at the bottom represents the EDS as well. Let's take a look at this weekend's draw. This is the this looks like the final round. I can't believe we're at the end of the season, Paula.
I know, and it's only in June. So a quick season this year. We started a little bit earlier because of the World Cup coming through, and with the ANL had to start early. So a lot of the states started their netball season a lot earlier, so it didn't interfere too much with the normal league.
All right, EDS had a win over the Wildcats during the week. Cougars at the State Netball Centre at 7 o'clock tonight are up against yourselves. Obviously, you believe you'll win. Why?
Why?
Yep.
Well, if you look at our team individually with Cougars, I mean, Cougars is a team that will just keep on, at your toes the whole time. And if you make one mistake, they will make you pay. But I feel that we're prepared for tonight. We've got a team that are very hungry for the win. We want to go out on a good note and be prepared, ready for semis. They have got Tiata as their big key in their team, and they've got Chanel Dyer and Sally Butters in the centre court. Sally Butters has come back from overseas and has played the last few rounds. So that attack end is quite fast and they're quite lethal in passing it into Tiata. So that's going to be our main key tonight, is shutting her down.
Yeah, Tiata coming off some international stuff too, I think, with PNG. Chanel Dyer was carving up last season when she got time on court. How has she gone this season for the Cougars?
I think she's a step above from last season as well. So she is looking very nice. A lot of groundwork has to be used on her. She's fast and her vision into the circle is beautiful. So we're not taking them lightly whatsoever. Their Cougars in the last 6-7 years have really shown that they're up with the best. But I think this year with the team that we've got and how we've worked, we're ready to match them.
Any chance of attracting Lisa Spencer back up here for the finals?
No, we've got our 10 players now. Lisa has been missed at a few games. Her aggression and teamwork that she brings into the team has been missed a little bit. But we have coached quite well. We've brought up a girl, Maddie Walsh, who was in the State 21s team, and she has fit in very quickly and very nice into the team. So because we've got our 10 players, unless there's an injury happening there, would probably be about the only time I would give Lisa Spencer a quick call.
As far as the core of your team is concerned, with Megan Rooney, Lee Thomas, Michelle Hess, Jade Fiscalini, players that have been with you a few years now, is this the last throw of the dice for some of these girls?
Well, I actually thought that the other year, last year, because when I had a couple out with pregnancies and Megan Rooney out with an ankle injury, everyone was saying it was their last year.
Yeah.
For some reason, they kept on coming back, so which is great. I mean, that shows what the Jags is all about. It's teamwork, it's unity, and the region is fantastic. So the girls actually, first and foremost, really enjoy their sport, and then I think they're hungry for a win. So we're glad that we're looking like that we're going to be in the top 4 after tonight's game. And we'll just take one step at a time from there. All
right. Alongside you on the other court there at the State Netball Centre at 7 o'clock, Suncoast Lynx will be playing the Brisbane West Lions. Your thoughts on that one?
I think it's a little bit of a shame. I think Lions have actually gone down in the second half of the season. They've lost a little bit of interest. That's my personal opinion. Lynx are looking quite strong. Lynx and their team, Laura Sherry and Steph Wood, are looking lethal. They're looking very good. So if Lions want a chance there, they do have to shut those two down.
Yeah, fair enough. And Carino Leagues Club Tigers up against the Townsville Steel Cats there at the Townsville RSL Stadium tonight at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, well, with the Steel Cats, it's always a different game up in Townsville. I always thought we were very lucky to play Steel Cats when it was state champs on, because they didn't have the crowd that they usually have. The crowd really get behind Steel Cats, and it's that really boosts them up, and it could be their last game of the season. They do have to play well. They have to beat Tigers, but I still put my bets on Tigers. They're looking like the team to beat for the season.
Okay, and looks like Netball Queensland have already decided to whack the semi-finals and everything up already. They've got the Tigers and the Cougars playing at Logan Metro next weekend, and at the same venue, same courts and everything. Suncoast Link playing yourselves, so
Well, I mean, I probably wouldn't have put it up there at this moment, but Steel Cats, they would have to beat Tigers tonight by probably over 100 goals for them to get into the semi-finals. But hey, we've seen different things happen. I can't really see it happening for Steel Cats.
Yep.
Trying to beat the best team that's in form by 100 goals, but you never know. It hasn't finished yet.
Okay, once again, the ladder: Tigers, Cougars, Lynx, Jags. That's your finalists. Steel Cats, Lions, and Wildcats. Just quickly, big news for the Queensland Firebirds. Chelsea Pittman is definitely in, according to the Adelaide newspapers, and this weekend. So they're currently sitting second on.
Yeah, I haven't heard that, so I'm glad you got that information. That's great.
Yeah, it's good news, and they're actually playing the Adelaide Thunderbirds this weekend as well. That's tomorrow, 1:40, so it won't be the television game on SBS. You'll probably have to catch it on pay TV. But as far as the ladder is concerned, it is a top-of-the-table clash to finish off the season, so it doesn't get much better than that. How do you reckon they'll go?
I still put my bets on the Firebirds. I think they're starting to hit form a little bit more. They had probably a little bit of a slump a few weeks ago. Not too much so, but I think they're starting to start to power again now. So I'll put my bets on the Firebirds for tomorrow. All
right. Other matches this weekend, we have the Melbourne Vixens at home to the West Coast Fever, the Southern Steel at home to the Central Pulse. I can tell you Janelle Fowler has signed a 2-year deal to further her time there at the Southern Steel. She's done amazing things this year, breaking all sorts of records as a goal shooter. Waikato Bay are plenty magic at home to the Northern Mystics, and the New South Wales Swifts at home to the Tactics. Your ANZ Championship ladder at the moment: Thunderbirds, Firebirds, Vixens and Magic make up the top 4. The rest of the competition: the Central Pulse, Southern Steel, West Coast Fever, New South Wales Swifts, Tactics and the Northern Mystics as well. Tickets have gone on sale for the Australian Netball League as well. I think the first round is being played on the Sunshine Coast. I encourage you to go to the Netball Queensland website to check that out, and you'll get to see a great Golden South Jag player there, amongst others as well, in Megan Rooney, an ex-Firebird. There's a few ex-Firebirds in that team as well. Paula, thanks so much for joining us, and good luck tonight.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No worries, Paula. Thank you for being with us.
And tell Petra I said hello.
we definitely will say. We will say. We'll take a break here on Sports Scene at 17 minutes to 9. When we come back from the break, we'll talk through the world of rugby union and the world of football as well, so stay with us. Overflows, Logan.
Life is for living. Life is for giving. Help save lives. Please give blood.
Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had a chicken, E-I-E-I-O.
The farms where most of our egg products come from aren't what they used to be. Across Australia, 11 million hens are still confined to the misery of battery cages. Please, don't buy into cruelty. Help Animals Australia put an end to factory farming.
Be a voice for animals at animalsaustralia.org.
Remember When with Richard Davey, bringing you golden musical memories from the 1920s to the late 50s, every Sunday from 1 p.m. on 101 FM.
We play the biggest hits and the greatest memories. Logan City's 101 FM. You're listening to Saturday Sports Scene on 101 FM.
Welcome back to Sports Scene here on 101 FM. It's 15 minutes to 9. Kevin Braysher, Darren Madigan and Ethan James all here with you. Just a reminder that each Tuesday morning during Morning Magazine, Terry Lindsay from our sponsor, Technology Training Group, answers your questions on all matters regarding computer technology. If you'd like him to give you the right advice, then email your question to techtraingroup@101fm.com. at outlook.com. That's techtraingroup@outlook.com. Or phone Terry on 1300 136 679, 1300 136 679. Each week, a lucky person will receive a free lesson valued at $55. Before we move on to the world of football and rugby union, plenty happening with the British and Irish Lions Test Series kicking off tonight at Suncorp Stadium. Just a quick update on the results in the world with the local basketball scene. The SBL in the women's side of the draw, we got the Logan Thunder taking on the North Side Wizards. That's at Cornovia Park Space. That's the sports rather. That's tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. On the men's side of the draw, we've got the West Logan taking on the Gold Coast Waves. 10 a.m. tomorrow morning at Logan Metro Indoor Centre, and the Logan Thunder also taking on the Northside Wizards tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. Quick look at the ladder and how the Logan sides are going at the moment. Logan Thunder in the women's sitting in 9th spot, and in the men's we got West Logan up in 5th and the Logan Thunder in 9th as well. Darren, big results in football during the week. Of course, we alluded to it at the top of the show. The Socceroos through to a third straight World Cup finals. You know, even if you go back to, say, 2004, would you ever envisage Australia making it through to 3 consecutive World Cups after, at that stage, it had been 30 years in between drinks for them, and now we've gone to 3 in a row?
Look, yeah, it had been, and look, we had to do it the hard way. I mean, Oceania used to have to play off against the 5th-placed South American country, and we had all these games against Uruguay and all that sort of down through the years, and well, the bottom line was a lot of heartbreak as well. And, you know, it's interesting sometimes to watch the dynamic of some of these guys who've been there and done that but just missed out. You know, right. The Mark Bosniches of this world, and how passionate they are about the team now, because, you know, they have regrets. You know, the guy who got me following Liverpool all my life, Craig Johnson, the first great Australian to go over to play in the what was then the First Division. I mean, he regrets not playing for Australia. You've got these absolute champions, recognised as champions of our game in Australia, but they didn't get to play, and they're seeing all these guys that some of them are playing their 3rd World Cup now. And guys like Schwarzer and some of the others will, you know, it's just a great effort. It really is.
It's magnificent for the game, and like you alluded to at the top of the show, mate, like it was nail-biting stuff heading into we didn't get the goal until the 83rd minute, and we've seen them in past probably not play to their best potential, but when the moment came, you know, Australia stood up and we got that goal, and now we're through. It was an amazing match. Yeah,
it's safe to say there's a lot of improvement left in this Socceroos side. Yeah, I mean, we could do without 83-minute goals. we really can. And look, you know, we've got to play a lot better once we get there. But Holger Osik, I mean, he's got a good side together there now. We do play a good defensive game, and I think all the great sides do that. But we do need to work on that work up forward. We've got some great players who can do world-class stuff like Timmy Cahill and that. But yeah, I'd like to see the strikers just hitting their targets a bit more, because we've had especially games like the Japan game and things like that. We've had a few shots on goal, and they haven't always been hitting the mark. So we're going to need to be a bit better than that when we get to. I'm not sure at the moment whether this particular Socceroos side is as good as the one that made the last World Cup. But you know, there were names in that team too. There were names that we all recognised, and I reckon after this next World Cup, a lot of the names that we don't know now, we will know then.
Absolutely. That's what we hope to see come out of this. Look, it was said during the week, there'll be plenty of time to analyse and plenty of time to look at improvements and all the rest of it, but this week it's about celebrations. Yeah. The Socceroos through to their 3rd straight World Cup finals. And, mate, there's one other big thing happening in the world of football at the moment. Over there, they've got, it's a mini World Cup sort of thing going on. Tell us about it.
Yeah, each World Cup we have, well, the last few World Cups anyway, the year before, the host nation basically holds a test event, and we call it like a mini World Cup. It's called the Confederations Cup, and it's basically the best of the winners of all those confederations around the world. Now, it hasn't always been treated seriously down through the years. This year is a bit different. It is being treated fairly seriously. Obviously, there's a lot going on Brazil politically off the field as well, which is causing a lot of hassles for them. But I like to think that sport tends to bring people together, and hopefully by the time this tournament finishes, if Brazil continue doing what they're doing, that will hopefully bring the nation together. We've seen some great venues like the famous Maracana being used. Great to see that all done up and all pretty and ready to roll. At the moment, Group A, Brazil, Italy, Mexico and Japan. Brazil and Italy would go through automatically there. As far as games that have just been played over the last couple of days, Italy had a thriller 4-3 over Japan. Geez, Japan are playing well at the moment, guys. I mean, they're really a nation that's rising in a big way. Brazil 2-0 over Mexico as well. I'm surprised Mexico aren't playing that well. Also, in the Group B, Spain on 6 points, Nigeria on 3, Uruguay sitting outside the top 2 on 3. The last couple of days, we've seen Spain put 10 past the Oceania champions Tahiti. 10-0, can you believe it? And Nigeria went down 2-1 to our old nemesis, Uruguay. Tomorrow, we see Nigeria play Spain, Uruguay play Tahiti, and tonight we've got Italy playing Brazil, which should be an absolute corker, and Japan playing Mexico. You can watch some of these games on SBS, and you can also watch some of it streamed live on their site as well.
That's it. Thank you very much for that, Darren. It's 8 minutes to 9 here on 101 FM. Kevin Braysher, Darren Madigan, Ethan James with you. It's now time to talk the Lions series. The British and Irish Lions Test match series against Australia gets underway tonight at Suncorp Stadium. It's going to be massive. Take a look at the starting 15 for the Wallabies. Ben Robertson, Stephen Moore, Ben Alexander make up the front row. The back row, Kane Douglas and James Horwell, who is the skipper. The loose forwards, Ben Moen, Michael Hooper, Wycliffe Palu. In the halves, Will Genia at scrum half. James O'Connor gets the 10 jersey, as it was pretty much confirmed a long way out from the series. James O'Connor gets that somewhat controversial 10 jersey. On the wings, Digby Ione and Israel Folau will become a dual international tonight when he runs out on the wing. In the centres, Christian Lealiofano gets a debut. Adam Ashley Cooper at outside centre. Beric Barnes playing at fullback. Israel Folau, plenty hype around his debut for the Wallabies. This is what he had to say about finally getting the nod for the Wallabies.
Certainly up there with what I've achieved in the past with both rugby league and AFL. This is it's a very exciting time for me. It's a great achievement, so I'm looking forward to getting out there on Saturday night.
Is he? It's not really a debut. He's played international sport.
Yeah, it's it's funny how you think about this time last year I was playing AFL and how things change a lot in a short time. But look, I haven't regretted anything, and it's been a great journey for me so far. And this is probably the start of an exciting one. And Saturday night's going to be huge for me, and can't wait to get out there.
Wow. Israel Folau there speaking ahead of his Wallabies debut. He will become a dual international, of course, playing plenty of tests for Australia in the world of rugby league. Ethan James, how do you think Israel Folau is going to adapt? It's the biggest possible stage for him to debut on in a Lions series. Israel Folau, how's he going to go?
It is, and they've thrown him to the Lions, for lack of a better word there, maybe. It'll be. I'll let that one slide.
You've been waiting for that.
Exciting to see him out there on the field. He's such a dynamic athlete, such a dynamic ball carrier. I just hope he gets enough sort of space and enough ball there on the wing. But I think the big sort of talking point in that Wallabies side is the fact that they've gone with Beric Barnes at fullback and O'Connor in the 10 jersey. I mean, they haven't really played a great deal in those positions. They're probably more accustomed to each other's positions, if that sort of makes sense. I don't know how you guys see it, but it's a bit of a curly one, that one.
Thrown to the Lions, pun of the day. Look,
I'll take it.
There's been plenty build up in who should be the 10, but the reality is right now James O'Connor will be the 10. He is an extremely talented player. He's under huge pressure, and this is the sort of situation where the class players, they need to stand up. James O'Connor has a real chance to prove himself and stamp himself as Australia's long-term fly half. He's 22 years old. He's got a real chance here to be the man in the years to come. Darren Madigan, a lot riding on this performance, not just for James O'Connor, also for the likes of Robbie Deans trying to hold on to his coaching job after this series, and for Australian rugby moving forward. He's under a lot of pressure, James O'Connor.
He is, and as you said, the coach is as well. I mean, leading up to, this is the World Cup audition, really, isn't it, for Robbie Deans, I think, in a lot of ways. But James O'Connor, most likely to line up against Johnny Sexton, who's played 28 times in that position. I mean, some of these matchups are looking fantastic. I mean, that is going to be excellent. Israel Folau against the most exciting player probably in the Northern Hemisphere at the moment in George North. I mean, I do wonder whether Deans will actually play him and whether he'll throw him on the other side of the field or not. But I don't think... He made a good point in the audio you just played. He's not... This isn't new to him. You know, he's played AFL in front of huge crowds in Australia. He's been played for Australia as a Kangaroo, and now he's a Wallaby. I mean, wow. I mean, that's the word for it. Wow, what an achievement. I mean, between him and Carmichael Hunt, two great athletes have done amazing things. And I think Israel's... Just looking at Israel, I mentioned to you last night in private that watching footage of Israel at the moment, his time in AFL has obviously helped his cardiovascular side of him. He's carrying no extra weight whatsoever, and he seems to have just taken to rugby union like I've never seen a player take to sport before.
Yeah, the big thing with him, a lot of people saying like he's just been thrown in for, you know, star power and because he's just come across from league and to try and hold him in. Look, he's earned his spot. He's been fantastic for the Waratahs this season, and I'm confident that he's going to go well for the Wallabies tonight. Take a look at the British and Irish Lions, starting 15 in the front row. Alex Corabisio from England. He's joined by Tom Youngs and Adam Jones. That's the front row. In the back row, Alan Wynne-Jones and Paul O'Connell from Ireland. He's in the back row. Paul O'Connell up against James Horwill. That's going to be a terrific matchup, that one there. The battle of the second rowers. The loose forwards, Tom Croft, Sam Warburton and Jamie Heelslip. That makes up your forward pack for the British Lions. In the halves, Mike Phillips, exciting Welsh scrum half. He'll be there. Jonathan Sexton from Ireland will be the 10. And the back line, what a great back line they've got. In the centres, Jonathan Davies, Brian O'Driscoll, we've been calling for him for weeks now. He got to start at 13. On the wings, two giants, George North, Alex Cuthbert, the two massive Welsh wingers there. And at fullback, Lee Halfpenny, also from Wales. Lee cannot miss Halfpenny, they're calling him for his unbelievable goal kicking. It's a terrific side they've got here, the British and Irish Lions. I really like the back line they've got there. Quickly, we talked a lot about Brian O'Driscoll, but the one thing he hasn't done in his career is win a Lions series. He's got a chance to do it this time.
He really has. Probably playing up against Adam Ashley Cooper. And look, just great to see him in the side. I know we've both been pulling for him to actually make the side. And he was looking like he was going to be carrying the drinks, to use a cricket analogy. But just fantastic to see him there. And I just hope he has a great game and holds his spot for the 3 tests.
That's it. Look, there's a lot of great matchups coming into this game tonight. The loose forwards is going to be a great battle. Michael Hooper really established himself really well last year, and even without David Pocock in the side, he is a world-class number 7, and he goes up against the British and Irish Lions captain Sam Warburton. He's of course from Wales, and this is going to be a great matchup. The guys who can get the cleanest ball for their men and steal some ball for the other side. It's going to go a long way towards the halves battle, which is a good one as well. Mike Phillips and Jonathan Sexton for the Lions, Will Genia and James O'Connor for the Wallabies. They can get some good clean ball, it'll go a long way towards winning that battle. And look, it's really exciting stuff tonight. And fingers crossed, we saw it 12 years ago, Darren, the Sea of Red. There's been a big campaign to make sure that doesn't happen again. Are we going to see lots of gold out there tonight rather than the Sea of Red? My
understanding during the week from hearing some of the ticket sales is that the campaign has failed. I think we're going to see quite a lot of red.
Look, they know how to turn up in numbers, the British and Irish Lions, but no matter who's in that stand, I think it's going to be an exciting game of football tonight. There's going to be an electric atmosphere, and it's something I cannot wait for. It's going to be great. We'll take a break here on SportzScene, or rather we go to the news. When we come back, we'll talk through the Wimbledon. It gets underway on Monday. We'll also get Lee Hanatscheck on the phone for motorsports, so stay with us.
Your station, 101 FM, with Saturday Sports Scene.
Welcome back to Sports Scene here on 101 FM. It is 6 minutes past 9. Kevin Braysher here with you, along with founding father of Sports Scene, Darren Madigan, and the QRL's Ethan James, taking you into the second hour of what is a massive show. Coming up in the second hour, Petro Sivanasiva. He's played 33 Origins, 45 Test matches, 309 first-grade games, one of the unquestionable greats of Rugby League. He will be on the show at 20 minutes to 10 to talk us through the Intrust Super Cups Turn to Me round. It's a really special round they're doing. It's the first time they've done it to raise awareness of depression amongst players and individuals. They're teaming up with Beyond Blue. Petro Sivanasiva will be on the phone to tell us all about that at 20 to 10. Also coming up at 9:15, we'll get Lee Hanatscheck from the Australian Karting Association on the line to talk to us about the world of motorsport. Before we move on to everything else in the show, also next week, Darren, big interview, Jason Bright coming up. He'll be fresh off a trip over to Le Mans, mate.
Yeah, really excited about that. I mean, it's Jason's had an interesting career. People sort of don't realise that he's not just a V8 supercar driver. He had a bit of time in America. He's raced open wheelers. He did have that guest drive here in Australia at Surfers Paradise many years ago, and he was caught up in a terrible accident at the time in the middle of rain and everything, which was not his fault. So, yeah, great to see him racing in one of the great races too. I mean, you know, we're talking up with the Monaco Grand Prix, Indy 500, Daytona 500. The Le Mans 24-hour is iconic, and it's great to see him get a drive in a good car. He's driving a Ferrari, and hopefully he'll do fairly well.
Absolutely. He'll be on the show next week. Just a reminder for social media here at SportzScene, facebook.com and youtube.com/SportzScene, SportzScene, SportzScene. Look us up, find us there. On the YouTube, you'll find podcasts of the show and interviews and little bits and pieces there from the world of SportzScene. We're also on Twitter at SportzScene, and if you want to send us an email, news@sportscene.com.au. Darren, before we move into a bit of a Wimbledon preview, mate, you've got some NPL results.
Yeah, Queensland Conference of the EMP National Premier League, where Olympic FC 2-0 over the Queensland Academy of Sport. We had the Northern Fury, the side based out of Townsville, and the former A-League side, 2-2 against Central Queensland Football Club. And we had Moreton Bay United 2-0 up over the Sunshine Coast. And in a fantastic match at Mareeba, 1,200 people packed a very small ground, Borsey Park in Mareeba up in the Tablelands, to watch Redlands United beat FNQFC Heat 4-2. And the game was really, really well promoted. So it goes to show what can happen with local footy if you do it the right way. Western Pride and the Palm Beach Sharks was postponed. It was a Friday night fixture, was to be played. And the Brisbane Strikers and Brisbane City were also postponed. They'll be rescheduled to a date to be advised. The latter at the moment, Olympic FC, Brisbane City, Brisbane Strikers, Redlands United, Sunshine Coast in 5th spot, Moreton Bay in 6th, Northern Fury out of Townsville in 7th, Palm Beach Sharks in 8th, Western Pride in 9th, FNQ out of Cairns in 10th spot, CQ in 11th, and the Queensland Academy of Sport in 12th. Just a few games this week. We've got the Palm Beach Sharks playing the QAS at the Mullewa Complex at 5:30. That's this afternoon. Excuse me. Brisbane City playing Far North Queensland down at Spencer Park in Brisbane. Kick-off at 6 p.m. This is today. And Northern Fury will play the Moreton Bay Jets at the Townsville Sports Reserve at 6 p.m. tonight. CQFC will play Redlands United at Jardine Park at 7 p.m. And Sunshine Coast Fire Western Pride at the Sunshine Coast Stadium, 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And also tomorrow afternoon at 5 p.m, Olympic FC will play the Brisbane Strikers. So that brings you up to date on local footy.
Thank you very much for that, Darren Madigan. It's time now to talk about the biggest tennis tournament in the world, Wimbledon. We'll start with the ladies' side of the draw, Ethan. And the draw came out yesterday, as you say. Who's looking good going into Wimbledon?
Yeah, well, it's the big guns as per usual there on the women's side of the draw. Serena Williams, of course, number one seed for this tournament. She is the one to beat as per usual on grass. Just the way that she plays the game, her power, her aggression, really suits. It suits all surfaces really, but grass in particular. She's very strong. Sam Stosur, of course, top-ranked Aussie women on the women's side there. Interesting to see how she goes. She doesn't, of course, have the best record at Wimbledon. I don't think she's been past the third round in all her attempts there. Of course, she has won doubles titles though at Wimbledon, so I'm not quite sure why she hasn't been able to translate that form into singles form. But we'll all be cheering for her in the middle of the night when we get up to watch her. But thoughts on the women's side of the draw there, Darren?
Yeah, I mean, just taking a look at some of the stuff that's been going on in the last couple of weeks. I mean, obviously Serena's you pick. Venus has pulled out with an injury, and that's a big deal because this is the one tournament of the year that Venus can do anything at. She's won 5 of them, so we know what she can do, even if she's in poor form elsewhere around the world. Maria Sharapova, I mean, this is where she will shine. This is where she first made her name when she actually knocked off Serena as a teenager to win. So, I think, this is where Sharapova's flat hitting comes in handy. This is where all the girls who tend to hit flat can actually play quite well. And Maria also knows how to volley as well, which is also obviously a big deal on grass. The top 3, Vicky as well, Victoria Azarenka, I mean, it's pretty hard to go past them at the moment. Your Smokies that I've been watching during the week, Radwanska's been playing well. Lena's been playing okay, but she's carrying a dirty, great big lot of tape on one knee at the moment, which you never like to see on a player. Petra Kvitova, and also a bit further down, Wozniacki. She was playing well, even though she's been knocked off in, I think, the semi-final I mentioned earlier in the show. She just looked fairly good. I think at Eastbourne, what I was watching. So they would be your Smokies, but it really is hard to go past Captain Obvious in the women's side of the draw. And no, I haven't mentioned Sam for a reason. I just don't rate her on this surface.
Yeah, she has struggled on it, which is sort of surprising. I mean, she's got the big kick, big spinny serve, and she's won a fair few doubles titles, can volley quite well. The fact that she hasn't sort of, been more successful on grass is sort of a bit surprising to me, really.
You are spot on, and it makes no sense. If you're one of the world's great doubles players, and she was ranked number 1 in the world for a long time before her singles game really picked up. And she has an amazing serve, as you said, the big kick that we've talked about, the technical side of her game before. I do think it's possibly in the head with Sam, because if you take a look at her game, there's not a lot wrong with it. The only thing I can put it down to is maybe she doesn't like the ball coming through at low and at erratic bounce.
I think that's it. And I think that's the reason why we've seen her a bit more successful at the French as well in the clay.
Yeah.
The fact that she does have a bit more sort of time there with the ball coming through slightly slowly to sort of set up for the shot. Because when she is rushed, she doesn't play well. And I think we've seen that on sort of the hard courts and grass a bit more.
Yeah, the ball's got it. If the ball's up in her hitting zone, and that's why she does so well in the North American hard court season as well. And that comes into play at Roland Garros as well. But the ball sits up in her hitting zone, a bit like Patrick Rafter used to be as well. I mean, that's why they were such great hard court players. Everyone thought they were these born and bred grass courters. They weren't. They were hard courters. It's just that their game translated well to grass as well. Same thing went with Leighton. But Sam, I think it's mostly in the head.
Let's see. Look, we'll all be pulling for her, but hopefully she can get past the 3rd round or whatever it is with her record there. But we will be pulling for Sam Stosur at Wimbledon. But the defending champion Serena Williams, 5-time champion. It's hard to go past her if you're putting a tip down for that tournament. Men's side of the draw, guys. The big thing with this one, the draw, we see Rafa Nadal as a 5th seed, which means he is on the same side of the draw as Roger Federer. We could see a quarterfinal between Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal at Wimbledon. How big would that be for a quarterfinal to get arguably the 2 greatest players of the last 20 and 30 years?
It'd be absolutely huge, Kev, especially considering the history at Wimbledon and some of the finals that they've played in the last few years. To have those two come together in a quarter would be something special.
And then Murray's on the same side of the draw, isn't he?
Yeah, it's a fairly stacked half. I haven't really had a close look at it, but yeah, considering those two are there, I think Murray is on the same half as well, so I'm presuming he'd meet one of those two in the semi. So yeah, there'd be plenty of good tennis on that side of the draw.
Tough road to the final there for Roger Federer, isn't it, Darren?
Oh, look, he's got a horrible draw. The other thing too, I mean, I think it's sad that they're going to meet in the quarters, because I mean, you always want to see those two in a final. They're just such a great rivalry. But the other thing too, just with Rafa, he's played 9 tournaments this year and won 7. The only one that wasn't on clay was Indian Wells. All right, so every tournament he has played this year, apart from Indian Wells, which is obviously a mandatory tournament, being a Masters 1000 event, he has actually only played on clay. So there's no gauge to go by with Rafa at the moment. We just don't know how he's travelling and moving, apart from the fact that his general court play is the best in the world this year. So I'm a little bit reticent. I don't think people fear Rafa on this surface, and given that he hasn't had any experience on it this year, with his coming back from his knee and stuff, I'm wondering just how well he's going to go and how deep he will go into the tournament. But
if he's going,
I'm sure.
Sorry, you go.
Yes, I'm sure Federer would still be shaking his head though to come up with someone of Nadal's caliber in a quarter.
Oh, that's a given. But when you're talking about the guys at the very, very top, you do have a situation where you do have to nitpick and be a bit pedantic about these sort of things when you're tipping. And I just don't like that he's played nearly every match this year on clay.
Well, that sort of coincides with his return from injury as well. Like it's not as if he's bypassed other things, voluntarily or anything like that. I mean, I'm sure he'll be fit and firing and ready to go for sure, without a doubt. And I mean, in terms of the way the grass courts play these days, is the way they used to play a few years ago. They are slower. So golf between the two.
Look, two things there. I mean, I think Rafa was planning that. I think winning eight French Opens was the thing that he wanted more than anything else, and he obviously planned it, and he played as much clay as he could. But I mean, I just wonder sometimes, and Rafa can be vulnerable. I mean, he can be. I mean, he is the best player in the world this year. There's no question about that. But and he's got the record to prove it. But if you want to nitpick and be a little bit pedantic about it, and I think we have to when we're talking at this level. That's my only worry about Rafa. Roger's playing well, and really out of the big four, Roger seems to be the one. But we'll see what happens. I think for me, the in the first few days, the big match for me is going to be Leighton up against Stanislas Wawrinka. That's going to be huge.
It normally does with Leighton Hewitt. Like we were saying before,
all his matches.
It's a tough draw for Leighton, but it's just as much a tough draw for the other one.
It is.
You got a tough game straight up that's going to tire you out for your second and third round if you get through.
That's it. And I'm pretty sure Hewitt in 5 sets are mandatory, so it will go to 5.
Yeah. You've got to win 7. You've got to win 7 matches to win a Grand Slam, and it's a tough gig. It's one of the toughest gigs in sport. And, there are some names. If you take a look at the guys that have been playing really well this year, whose games should translate really well. I mean, obviously, Rafa's there. Novak, David Ferrer has been playing very well as well. Andy Murray is genuinely worried. He was saying this morning that he was worried about playing 5 sets. So he's obviously bringing an injury into the tournament. Roger's playing very well on this surface at the moment. Burditch, he does his thing. Songa's there. Stan Wawrinka, we know what he's capable of on his day. I just wish he'd put 7 games together and win himself a decent tournament. But for me, I love watching Richard Gasquet play. He's just a beautiful player to watch, and I'd like to see him beat this hoodoo that he's had in his game down through the years and go deep into the second week. That would be really nice to see, because I think there's no prettier match to watch in tennis than Federer versus Gasquet.
The 2 one-handed backhands, it's pretty good viewing.
Yeah.
Pretty good viewing. It's a bit of a tennis nerd, but anyway.
Yeah. It makes me wish Justine Henin had come back as well.
Yeah, guys, we'll have to leave it there. Wimbledon gets underway this week. It's the biggest tennis tournament in the world. We'll keep an eye on it over the next couple of weeks as it all progresses. We'll take a break now here on SportzScene. When we come back from the break, we'll give Lee Hanatscheck on the phone and talk through all things motorsport. Stay with us.
Life is for living, so live it. Life is for giving, so give it. Giving blood is cool, needing it isn't. Red Cross. Give a little. Life is for living. Life is for giving. Help save lives. Please give blood.
There's nothing like the smell of a barbecue. Sausage cooked to perfection with delicious onion or scrumptious bacon with egg on a fresh burger bun. Each month, the team from your station, 101 FM, cook up at Stormont Office Works on Compton Road to raise funds. Drop in and say hi and support your station. Keep listening for details and like us on Facebook. We're your station, Logan City's 101 FM.
Good morning, Romeo's Lonely Hearts Club.
Scene here on a 101 FM, 22 minutes past 9. Kevin Braysher, Darren Madigan, Ethan James, all here with you. Joining us on the line, SportzScene regular from the Australian Karting Association, Mr. Lee Hanatscheck. Lee, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Kev. Great to be with you.
It's great to have you here again on the show, mates. And you're away today because you've got a karting meet to attend. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, on the way out to the Ipswich Kart Club for the next event in the Rotax Pro Tour. We've got about 130-odd drivers from all across the country have headed to Ipswich. It's a day-night event. First one for major event for many years to be held on the day night, shall I say, at Ipswich. So they qualified and had their opening heat yesterday, and then this afternoon and tonight is the big event. So we've got a lot of local drivers competing out there. None more so than a guy from Cornubia by the name of Callum Walker, who has shown some great speed in every event he's contested this year so far. So Formula K driver should fare well this weekend, and also Steve Ellery, former V8 supercar driver, is also having a run. He's running in the DD2 Masters category, and qualified on pole position yesterday. It's great to see so many drivers coming to Ipswich to compete down the road.
Absolutely, it'll be a great day, I'm sure. Guys, I know something you're both very excited for. Darren, I know you're extremely excited. The Le Mans 24-hour this weekend, mate. Tell us all about it. Fill us in what's happening.
Indeed. The Le Mans 24-hour, the grid is obviously set up because they'll be racing later on this afternoon. Our friend Mr. Hanatscheck on the end of the line has actually been to this event, and I'm sure he'll tell us all about it shortly. But on the 5th row of the grid, we have John Martin, who will start the race for G-Drive Racing. On the 12th row of the grid, Ryan Briscoe for Level 5 Motorsport will start in the car. And on the 25th row of the grid, Rui Aguas on 8-Star Motorsport will start, but Jason Bright is also driving in that Ferrari as well. And of course, just a reminder, Jason on the show next Saturday as well. Big interview there. And hopefully we'll have something to smile about on that front. But it really, Alan McNish is sitting on the front row alongside Andre Lotterer. I can't see anyone knocking off the Audis. They are just an amazingly professional setup. But what's your thoughts, Lee?
Yeah, I mean, the Audis have just dominated over the last few years. I think they'll go on to dominate once again. Interesting, yesterday Nissan brought out their Garage 56 prototype for this year. It was using the Delta Wing sort of shape of last year, which is looks like a three-wheeler type car, but with all electric powered. From Nissan. So
Lee, on that, that's very interesting because Nissan quite publicly and almost acrimoniously, quite some time ago, pulled their support for the Delta Wing project, and all of a sudden we're back at Le Mans and they're actually using it.
Yeah, it's certainly something different, but you sort of cut out towards the end there, Darren, but I sort of got the drift of what you were saying there. It's Nissan, well, certainly innovative. That's probably the best word to put it. But going back to the main race here, I don't think you can stop the Audis, and it is a fantastic race to attend. I've had the privilege to attend it on one occasion, and it is just a magnificent event.
Yeah, it really is something very, very special, and obviously some of us who are really into it will be sitting on the internet or whatever tonight or wherever we can get a hold of a chance to actually see it and watch some of the streaming. The Le Mans prototype cars, especially the LMP ones, I mean, it's almost like watching Formula One with a body on top. They are that quick. They move as quick down the straight as an F1 car, sometimes even faster down Mulsanne. And they're just the way they move and everything. It's a magnificent series to actually follow.
Yeah, it is. I mean, just the amount of technology that goes into these cars is just amazing. And people ask you what it's like, what a Le Mans car is like, and you describe it just like it is. It's a Formula One car with a body. That's simply what it's like. It's no doubt in that whatsoever.
Yes, and look, I mean, some of the stuff this is where, we used to say years ago, Formula One was where we got our was where we got a lot of the stuff for our road cars. A lot of the stuff that comes out of sports car racing now is where it's at, especially with kinetic energy programs and all that sort of stuff. We take a look at the Audi, for instance. Its quattro doesn't actually kick in. It actually runs two engines, one at the front and one at the rear, and its quattro doesn't kick in until about 120 kilometres an hour. And it's just I mean, it's so complicated, it is just ridiculous. But the stuff that we get from this does actually trickle down to our road cars.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just amazing that technology that comes out of there, and it's a bit of a big round for future cars.
Very, very much so. Very much so. John Martin, you know, he's an interesting character. You know him. In fact, you guys used to have a joke about him, calling him the package, because he for PR reasons and stuff. But he's what is it with John Martin? I mean, he does well in a lot of the categories that he is, but he can't seem to jag a big drive anywhere. Has he ever even tested a Formula One car?
I don't think he's actually tested an F1 car. He's ran the A1 GP car, the now defunct series for a while. He's now turned his focus towards sports car racing. You can see that as a long-term future for him, and I think he's making a good go out of it. You know, he's got himself with a fairly strong team. He's been up in the podium a couple of times. He's running strongly. I think he's sort of made a good move for himself in the career, because it's more to motorsport than just Formula One and NASCAR. There's a lot of other avenues where you can actually make a decent living out of, and doing something you love, and I think that's what he's found.
Yep, fair call. Well, with a bit of luck, we'll have an Australian hopefully doing well up there, just like we had with David Brabham just a few years ago when they actually won the race. Turning our attention to NASCAR, Clint Bowyer, currently there's practice in progress. Final practice for the race at Sonoma, California. Marcus Ambrose was dominating. He's now slipped down to fourth in practice, but Clint Bowyer ahead of Greg Biffle and Kurt Busch, and also Owen Kelly at Road America in the Nationwide Series dominated a wet practice over there as well. Owen Kelly getting his second drive in NASCAR. The last one was 2010. It's a great story, isn't it, Lee?
Oh, it's a great story of a guy who just wants to give it a crack, and he just wants to get over there and, make the most of any opportunity that comes his way, whether it's one race, whether it's two races, whether it's, one race every 2 years. I just want to make an opportunity, and he's grabbing with both hands.
Yeah, it's great stuff. Any news on the V8 front?
Oh, the V8 front, well, it's been an interesting week, of course. Volvo announced on Monday that they're coming into the championship, as we alluded to a couple of weeks back. That's an interesting scenario. We've had Mark Winbottom actually break through and finally finish a race and get on the podium and take the win last weekend in Darwin. It was great to see Mark get up there. And then you've also got a bit of controversy with Jamie Whincup's team being allowed on the grid well after anyone else was allowed on the grid after the halftime break in Darwin as well. So that's spurred up a bit of controversy during the week. There's a little bit going on, but we'll catch up more of that next week.
Okay, and just a reminder too that the FIA tribunal handed down their findings overnight, and they announced that Mercedes and Pirelli have been reprimanded by the FIA International Tribunal. Tribunal decided that Mercedes should be reprimanded and be suspended from participating in the 3-day young driver test. In other words, it's just been a slap on the wrist. The real fallout from this could very well be Pirelli. They are furious. They've had a tough time in F1, tougher than probably any other tyre manufacturer ever has, because of what they've been asked to do. They've been brought into this hearing that they're not real impressed about, and they're coming to the end of their contract. So I do wonder whether they're going to start wondering whether Formula One is even worth it or not. But I guess we'll find out towards the end of the season, whether they've got a contract with Bernie or not. Bernie seems to think they have, so we'll see what happens on that front.
Time will tell.
Indeed. Kevin?
That's it, guys. Thank you, Lee, very much for being on the phone with us today. I hope all things go well out there at the karting track today, and we'll have you on the show again next week.
Thanks, guys. All the best.
Thanks a lot, mate. We'll go to a break now here on SportzScene. When we come back from the break, we'll talk through the world of rugby league, so stay with us.
For the best musical...
Now it's back to Saturday Sports Scene on 101 FM.
Welcome back to Sports Scene here on 101 FM. It's 27 minutes to 10 in Express News Update. Coming up at the top of the hour, Kevin Braysher, Darren Madigan, Ethan James, all still here with you. We've got Petro Sivanasiva coming up very shortly after the very next ad break. He'll be on the line to talk us through the Intrust Super to Me round and talk a little bit of extra footy as well. Before we get to Petro, State of Origin 2 this Wednesday. The teams have been announced. A couple of changes in both sides. New South Wales making 3 forced changes. Queensland making 2 changes of their own. A couple of veterans of the Queensland side, David Chillington and Ash Harrison, making way for 2 rookies, Daly Cherry Evans and Josh Papali. A bit of a reshuffle in the forward pack as well. Chris McQueen comes in to start. Nate Miles starts in the front row. Ethan James, what do you think of Queensland's changes?
Yeah, interesting. I think the Papali move in place of Harrison was probably the right one. Ash has done a great job for Queensland over many years, but you can't play forever, unfortunately. And I think in terms of getting the next generation into the Queensland side, I think that was the right move. In terms of Cherry Evans, massive fan of his potential and his talent, but in terms of playing a halfback on the bench in Origin, I'm not quite sure how they'll use him tactically, especially considering they have got so many other back rowers in the side already. Queensland have in the past, they have used sort of a half, like Cooper Cronk or Sean Berrigan. They have played them as an extra back rower there in the side, and I'm assuming that's how they'll sort of use Daly as well. But in terms of the balance of the side, it's chock full. The whole bench is back rowers anyway, so there's going to be probably too many back rowers and not enough props. I don't get your take.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of back rowers, and look, in the first game, New South Wales ran through the middle of us in the forwards, and to my thinking, I thought we'd pick up another prop, maybe Ben Hannock coming back from injury, maybe Shillo held on to his spot. But, the thing is that these guys that are in the team, Chris McQueen has been fantastic all season. Matt Gillett, while he hasn't quite translated it into Origin, his form at the Broncos has been outstanding this year. Ben Teo has been fantastic as well. So all these guys, they deserve their spot and they deserve their crack, and I think they're going to go well. I'm really excited to see Papali go around. He's been knocking down the door at Canberra. He's been terrific this year. He's a Logan product from this area as well, so it'd be great to see him go around. And with Cherry Evans, as we say, I'm a huge Cherry Evans fan. It'll be interesting to see how he's used tactically in this game, but I do think, look, I was a little nervous at first. We've made our feelings known about the utility type of player in rep games before, me and you, Ethan. But I'm excited to see how Daly Cherry Evans goes. I think he'll handle it no problems. He's played for Australia. He's played grand finals before. I think he'll do the job. The question is exactly how they're going to use him. We won't know until the night.
Yeah, that's it. I think Mal will definitely get him on the field. I mean, he'll have more of an impact on the match than I think Josh Reynolds did in game 1 for New South Wales.
Right.
So yeah. As I said before, Mal has, he uses that sort of utility player on the bench, pretty wisely, tactically speaking. And I think in terms of having an extra ball player and an extra sort of creative player on the field, I think that'll help Queensland out. Be interesting to see how it affects their go forward, though, because that was their main issue from game 1, and essentially they've reshuffled the side, dropped a prop and brought in the halfback. So they're essentially going in, despite not making many metres in game 1, they're going in with one, less forward. So interesting to see how it all plays out. It'll be great to get out there and sunk up on Wednesday night.
Absolutely, you'll be down there too.
Yeah, I'll be there.
I'll be there as well. So very excited about this game. It's going to be great. Queensland staring down the barrel of our first series defeat in 8 years' time. New South Wales will move to them now, mate. Few changes to their side. 3 changes. Jared Hayne out due to injury. Blake Ferguson and James Tomlin both suspended for things that have been spoken about at nauseum all week. We don't need to really go into all that, but the replacements that come in: Josh Dugan at fullback. We've seen all the controversy he had at the start of the year. He's into the fullback of the side. Josh Dugan, he's been great for the Dragons this season. Is it the right move to bring him into State of Origin?
Yeah, considering Haynes not there, and of course Brett Stewart is out injured as well. To have him, next cab off the rank after those two, I think is a fair enough call. His form's been really, really good for St George. He's been dangerous, and he's done everything that he's needed to do in terms of forcing his way into the side. I mean, if Hayne was fit, he'd be there for certain. But I think the other one interesting change for New South Wales is Merritt on the wing.
Absolutely. It's the feel-good story, isn't it?
It is. And in terms of, talking about role models and all that sort of stuff when it comes to sports players and athletes, there's no one who sort of held himself in a better sort of manner than Merritt in his career. He's ticked every single box he can possibly tick at NRL level. That, of course, doesn't always translate to success in Origin, as we've seen from other players in the past. But, he deserves the opportunity to give it a shot. And I don't think he'll leave anything in the sheds.
Absolutely right. And the last debutant as well, Aaron Woods comes into the starting side for James Tamu. He's had a great season so far, the Tigers. Big ask going up there to Suncorp Stadium to start in the front row. How's he going to go?
I think he'll go well. Massive work rate. And I think, which will leave him in good stead for Origin. It's a quicker paced game and it's a tougher game. So I think having that huge work rate behind him will leave him in good stead. And they're looking dangerous, New South Wales, to me. I'm always a bit worried for Origin matches, generally speaking. Always a bit tentative and
a bit nervous.
That's the one. But I think there's a whole lot of improvement in them as well. They dropped a lot of ball in game one, and if they can fix that up, they'll be even more dangerous. So I'm expecting both sides to lift, and I reckon we'll see an absolute spectacle on Wednesday.
Key for Queensland. If Queensland are going to level this series, what do they need to do better in this game than they did in game one?
Yeah, it's all about their enthusiasm and hunger, really. And I think if they can get that in check, they've definitely got the talent and the skill. I think they just need to perhaps sort of shy away from going 2-1 out as well and throw a few more sort of bodies in motion and stuff at the New South Wales defence to sort of wear them out that way. Yeah, your thoughts?
Oh, will we see Greg Inglis get more ball in this game? A lot in the build-up in this. We saw it in the last 20 minutes of the last game when Chris McQueen came on, and to me this sort of indicates, with McQueen starting this game, how they'll sort of play it. McQueen he attacked out wide, and Inglis had a chance then to move more into the middle. I think we'll see a lot more of that with Chris McQueen in the starting side, and I think Greg Inglis will get a bit more ball and have a bigger impact on the game. But for me, for the Queenslanders, it's all about that four-pack. They were dominated early in the first game. They were out enthused early. If they can stand up and give the room, Queensland has got the back line, they've got the halves to score a lot of points in this game. So to me, it comes down to the enthusiasm of the forwards early on.
And we've seen in the past, whenever someone's thrown a few sort of barbs at the Queensland Origin pack, they've fired up and responded.
Absolutely.
In pretty good fashion. So I have no doubt that they'll be improved on their game one showing. But I have a feeling New South Wales will as well. So it'll be another tight one right down to the wire.
Absolutely. It's going to be a cracking Origin too, as it always is. State of Origin is the biggest thing in rugby league, biggest thing in Queensland, really, that you should get all year. We'll go to a break now here on SportzScene. When we come back from the break, Petro Sivanasiva is going to be on the line with us, so stay with us on 101 FM.
Hi, Steve Karen Lawyers. If you've been dudded in a will, we'll investigate, and if we can, represent you. No win, no fee, no litigation loans. Call 1300 Lawyer. Put it in your phone or go to karenlawyers.com.au.
Your station sponsor.
Hi, this is Eric Banner, patron of the Australian Childhood Foundation. There were over 300,000 reports of children being abused in Australia last year alone. It's a problem we have to face up to. Child abusers are counting on you to do nothing. But there is something you can do. By going to stopchildabusenow.com.au, you can find out how we can help protect our children. So please, stop doing nothing.
Veterans, their partners and war widows may be eligible to receive assistance from the Department of Veteran Affairs for one-on-one exercise conditioning and or rehabilitation programs with a doctor's referral to an exercise physiologist. Veterans who hold gold or
on 101 FM, it's 18 minutes to 10 in Next Fresh News Update. Coming up at the top of the hour, Kevin Braysher, Darren Madigan, Ethan James, all here with you. And joining us on the line, he's a man who's done everything in rugby league. 45 tests for Australia, 33 origins for Queensland, 309 first grade games for the Broncos and Panthers. Currently, he's the captain of the Redcliffe Dolphins Intrust Super Cup team, and he's one of the faces of this weekend's Turn to Me campaign. Petro Sivanasiva, welcome to SportzScene.
G'day, thank you very much.
No worries, mate. Thank you very much for being here. This weekend, the 15th round of the Intrust Super Cup is the Turn to Me round. Mate, tell us exactly what is this weekend all about?
Yeah, I guess it's just in response to a couple of unfortunate circumstances that occurred to a couple of our young players, one in the NRL and young Alex Alassala, who took his own life a few months ago. So it was just about us at the game trying to respond to that. And one way to do that is obviously, open up that line of communication about what young guys need to do. We play a tough game. tough sport. But one of the attributes of that is, when it comes to issues in our personal life, we tend to keep that to ourselves. It's so important that for young men especially that, when they get into a bit of a tough situation, they're able to talk about it straight away. So what we're trying to do is obviously to let guys know that it's important to talk to a friend, to talk to a coach, someone that's trusted in their life. Once they can talk about that issue, it's a lot easier to resolve as opposed to keeping it to yourself.
Mate, you mentioned that it's sort of a reaction to some things that have happened earlier in the season. Tell us, who are the players that got, the main players that got this all moving towards what we now have as the Turn to Me round? How did it all come about? Who are the major players involved in it?
Yeah, Steve Johnson, CEO at the Ipswich Jets, and Isaac Armau, who's a fellow front rower here at Redcliffe. Alex was a good friend of Isaac's, and he had affected Isaac greatly. So he wanted to do something, spoke to me about it with the help of Steve. We were able to talk to Queensland Rugby League, and from that, we were able to put together a fantastic ad that has featured probably for the last week, and again, just bring that awareness to what's such an important.
Absolutely, mate. And look, you touched on it a little bit, but an interesting theme that's been running through all the stories I've read about it and the ad that you just talked about there, the theme that's running through it is toughness. Now, you made a career of being a tough man in a tough sport, but tell me about the toughness that you're trying to promote in this campaign. Yeah, and obviously in football, we talk about that toughness, and the way we approach the game, how hard we hit, how hard we run the ball up. And it's just about not with this toughness that we're talking about. It's the toughness, that ability to be able to open yourself up and talk to someone when things get a bit tough in your life. So it's really important for young guys to know that there is an issue in their life that's getting them down. It can be an issue that seems a big one at that time. Once they start to talk, they can realise that break that down and find a solution to that issue, and that's the way to handle it, really, to be able to have that strength and that toughness to be able to talk to someone times of need. That's it. Look, Darren Madigan, I'll bring you in, mate. You got any questions for Petro about the Turn to Me round?
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. Petro, the life of a professional sports, especially the football codes, it's not normal by any means. I don't think anybody would think it is. You guys train a vast portion of the day. I mean, and it's pretty full on. Do you think that, is there any more do you think there's more depression you'll find in sports like football, or is it just an extension of what we're seeing in society?
I think it is an extension of what is happening in society. I think as young men, especially, there's I guess so much bravado and so much front. You want to portray that to your friends, your mates, and that's no different for young guys being a professional footballer. No doubt, being a professional athlete, you are in a cocoon. You do live in a bubble, and that you're surrounded by your teammates, and what you get, what you do week in, week out is off across the media. So that's something that the respective clubs do a really good work with each player in the education that they provide, and the sport networks that are out there. Obviously, we don't get it right, and we've seen cases of that in the last week or so. But it's no different for young men playing professional rugby league as to young men out in the community. We just have to make sure that young guys know that when they do find themselves in a spot of bother, they have an issue in their life that seems really tough to try and overcome. It's just so important they find someone to talk to about.
Do you think the boys, especially the younger ones, are starting to accept that help a bit more, or is it still a problem?
I think we've come a long way, but in saying that, to have those this year with players within our code, again highlight that this is an ongoing issue that we really have to keep that information going out there, whether it's in the form of the ads that we're doing here with the Turn to Me round, whether it's just making sure that young men know that there's hotlines available that they can call if they don't have friends or family that they are concerned to. It's just so important. We keep on so that we're not confronted with another tragedy, another sad situation.
It's 12 minutes to 10 here on SportzScene on 101 FM. Kevin Braysher, Darren Madigan, Ethan James, all with you. We're talking to Petro Sivanasivo, a rugby league legend, former Bronco and Panther, currently the captain of the Redcliffe Dolphins Intrust Super Cup team.
Yeah, g'day Petro, Ethan here, mate. Just congratulations, and of course on the initiative, and it's great to see all the clubs getting behind it and all that sort of stuff. But we'll talk a little bit about footy on the field. Coming back to Redcliffe, tell us a little bit about your decision to come back and play Intrust Super Cup. I understand, of course, you've got all your junior roots are in the Redcliffe area, but tell us a little bit about your decision to come back and play for the Dolphins.
Yeah, it was something that I've always wanted to do, and whilst I was playing with the Broncos, playing in the NRL. It was always that desire to come back to my junior club and have a season. And, it's just fantastic the way the club have accepted me back in to the fold again. And, a lot of the people that were very influential in my junior days are still here at the club. So it's really nice to connect with them again and just to be around the team. It's been, a really enjoyable all around.
And how have you found the standard of the coming back? And of course, you're having to juggle now work and family and footy. How's that all going?
It's been fantastic. I'm really fortunate with work. I work full time now for the NRL as a community engagement officer. So I'm doing a lot of kilometres at the moment, getting around the state, all over Queensland and North Wales, just with our work, our one community work. In our primary schools and high schools, and also to our junior rugby league club. So that's been fantastic, and I'm able to balance that out with my commitments to Redcliffe. We train 3 nights a week. I'm handling it okay, as all the boys that do. It's been a really good season. It's been a tough season. We're battling it out here at Redcliffe, but we've got a real big test this week, taking on the Northern Pride tomorrow.
That's it, mate. You just got off the training paddock to come and talk to us for this one, wrapping up, of course, leading into that game tomorrow against the Northern Pride. It'll be live on Channel 9, 2 p.m. from Dolphin Oval. How are the boys looking heading into this big clash against the side that's leading the competition?
Yeah, it's been a great week of preparation, no doubt. 2 points against my post last week was very handy for us. But it's really important we start to build some momentum coming into the back end of the season. We're probably placed with quite a few other sides that don't want to let those top sides pull away too much. So if we're able to pick up a couple of points here tomorrow, and then if we can get a bit of a roll on, that'll help our cause in getting to the semi-finals. But the mood here at the Redcliffe camp's really positive, and looking forward to taking on the benchmark of it in the Northern Pride tomorrow.
That's it. Best of luck for you tomorrow, mate. Another thing I wanted to ask you about, I read about it earlier in the year, but haven't heard a lot about it in recent times. It was said that you were looking to play for Fiji in the World Cup at the end of the season. Is that still something that's on the cards for you?
Yeah, look, for me, it'd be nice to, I guess, acknowledge my heritage. My family came from Fiji when I was at a very young age. I was only 6 months old, settled here in Redcliffe. So I think for me to be a part of that World Cup, whether it's playing or a role off the field with the team, is just about, I guess, promoting the game in Fiji. It's the interest in rugby league is massive now with the amount of boys playing with Fijian heritage in NRL. So this would certainly take it to another level. I'll see how the body holds out. If I can get through the next 6 months or so, I'll definitely put my hand up for it.
That's it. And finally, mate, before we let you go, we can't have you on the show a couple of days before Origin without asking you a little bit about it. The Queensland team, a couple of changes to them. The big thing, you as being one of Queensland's all-time great props, there's just the one main prop in the side in Matty Scott. What do you make of the Queensland forward pack going into Game 2?
Yeah, I like the balance. Obviously, it's unfortunate with the omission of Dave Shillington and Lee Harrison, but I think the young guys at the brought in John Karley, certainly will add that energy around the park where we really need to match the Wales. I mean, that's where they beat us, and that momentum that they were able to lead from that first 20 minutes. That energy that they, I guess, used to. We certainly matched that or better that in that first 20 minutes of Origin 2. So it's going to be a great challenge for the boys, but I reckon we'll be right.
That's it. Look, Queensland, you've been there plenty of times for Queensland. We've lost the first game and come back into game 2. The last two times that Queensland have lost game 1 and come back to a game 2 in Brisbane, they've been big wins, 30-0 and 30-6. It was. Look, the Queensland support, how much will it lift them going into game 2, running out of the Suncorp?
Yeah, look, it'll be the excitement already. You can feel all the Queensland supporters pulling out Moraine early. And no doubt will definitely lift the team. And it's always such a special occasion, getting to play Origin at the park. So I know the boys will be fired up and ready for a big performance.
That's it. Well, we'll let you go then. Thanks very much for being with us this morning, Petro. Congratulations on all the work that you guys have been doing with the Turn to Me round. It's the inaugural year. Hopefully it'll continue for years to come. The work that you do continues to impact the lives of people. Petro Sivanasiva, thank you very much for being with us on Sports Scene this morning.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Thank you, mate. We'll go to a break now here on Sports Scene. When we come back, we'll wrap it all up.
Do you have a street light that's not... Well, Energex would like you to report it to them by calling 13 12 53 or completing an online form for faulty streetlights on their website at energex.com.au. Remember also that the council has to pay the running cost of all the streetlights, whether they're working or not. So let's get the most for our rateable dollar by reporting the streetlights not functioning to Energex on 13 12 53 or on their website energex.com.au.
I wish I could have my heart attack again. I felt an ache in my jaw. Ignored it. Felt a bit short of breath. Ignored that. When I was feeling tight in my chest, I didn't realize my heart muscle had already started to die. And all I had to do right at the start was call 000. Wish I could have my heart attack again.
Learn the warning signs at heartattackfacts.org.au.
101 FM.
You're listening to Saturday Sports Scene on your station, 101 FM.
Welcome back to Sports Scene here on 101 FM. It's 4 minutes to 10. Your next Fresh News update coming up at the top of the hour. Kevin Braysher, Darren Madigan, Ethan James, all here with you. Massive thank you to Petro Sivanasiva for being on the show just now. It was great fun to talk to unquestionably one of the all-time greats of rugby league, and the great work that they're doing with the Turn to Me campaign and the stuff that he's doing at Redcliffe Dolphins this year. And as an NRL officer, it's been great stuff. So it was very good of Petro to be on the show with us this morning. We were very excited to talk to him. We move now. We're going to quickly wrap up the show in the last 4 minutes. We'll rip through some tips in the Intrust Super Cup. First up, game this afternoon, 2:30 p.m. up at Sunny Coast Stadium, Stockland Stadium. The Sunny Coast Seagulls up against the Burleigh Bears.
Yeah, I understand you're heading up there to cover that one, Kev. But Burleigh had a really good win last week over South Logan. So I think they've perhaps turned the corner, but I mean their form's looking good, and I think they've got plenty of strike in this one. Yeah, they haven't won back-to-back games all season, but last week a 42-12 win over a very, very good South Logan side. The Bears, their second half performance was outstanding. You'd have to think they've named almost the exact same side. Marco only moves up into the NRL. That's the only change for that side. But aside from that, they've named the same side. They should be looking stronger to this. There's no excuses this one. They need to win this game and win back-to-back games for the first time this year. Central Queensland Capras at home to Wynnum Manly Seagulls. That's at Brown Park tonight, 6 p.m, mate. The Capras, they can spring an upset. They can. They ambushed my poor old Tigers up there in Rocky last week, which was a bit unfortunate from my perspective. But, it was a tough win from their perspective too. They did it with a few injuries. They lost their fullback for a period of the match as well, Cameron Munster. So I think it'll be closer than maybe the positions on the ladder suggest, but it's hard to look past Wynnum. I mean, they've got a fair bit of class across the paddock. But just on the signing front as well there for Central Queensland, they've earlier in the week they picked up Jamie Simpson, who has played a fair bit of NRL for South Sydney. He's been off the radar a little bit over the past few years, but if they can get him there, get him fit and fully firing, that's a very handy addition to their squad. Absolutely, mate. Tomorrow afternoon, 2 p.m. at Langlands Park, East Tigers up against the Mackay Cutters. Can they bounce back against a very good Mackay side? Yeah, I hope so. Of course, with the Cowboys having the bye this weekend, there's a fair few fringe NRL players dropping back to the affiliates there. So Mackay, I understand, will have Tamalolo, Anthony Mitchell, Khalifa Faifailoa, Michael Morgan, just to name a few there. So it's going to be a jam-packed Mackay side, but of course they still have a few fringe guys there with their Melbourne Storm connection as well. So high quality match of footy, and I'm really hoping Easts get up.
Redcliffe Dolphins up against the Northern Pride tomorrow afternoon. The TV game, of course, as we were talking about with Petro. Redcliffe up against the top team in the competition. A big win for them last week over Ipswich. Can the Dolphins halt the momentum of the Northern Pride?
Yeah, big win over Sunny Coast. I think that was last week there for Reddy. Oh, sorry, but the Pride had a big win over Ipswich.
Yes.
So yes, both are in good form. Redcliffe, they have struggled against the Pride. I'm not sure exactly of their record off the top of my head, but they haven't won many at all. So they have struggled with them in the past. Cracking game of footy there at Dolphin Oval. I can't really split them. Maybe Pride by a field goal.
It'll be a tight one for sure. North Devils up against the South Slogan Magpies. Bishop Park tomorrow afternoon, 3 p.m. Very quickly, mate, Tim.
Yeah, North Devils, they should have a fairly big Broncos contingent there, so I'm tipping them at home.
That's it. And finally, Tweedhead Seagulls up against the Ippy Jets, Piggabeen, tomorrow afternoon, 3 p.m.
Yep, Ipswich to bounce back from the big loss against the Pride and get the win there.
That's the one. We've got to wrap up the show there. We're all out of time. Quickly, before we go, Darren Madigan, who's your tip for Wimbledon?
Sharapova and Federer.
That's the one. What about you, Ethan?
Oh, on the spot there, I'll go Djokovic and Azarenka.
That's the one. And, we got everything's happening tonight. The British Irish Lions tour kicks off. That's what I'm most looking forward to tonight. Origin during the week. Queensland to level the series. Fingers crossed for all us Queenslanders. Thanks for listening to Sports Scene. We'll be back same time next week.